Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. If you are here, let me know if you can hear me. Welcome to my live. Really excited to be here today again, doing a second live. I'm really enjoying them. I think it's a great way to connect with you guys and speak to you and answer your questions. And I feel like in the comments, I'm always like replying to questions and things like that. So it would be nice to like just answer your questions live as they come through. So yeah, let me know where you guys are based. Where are you from? What are you studying? What are you currently doing? What are you up to? How's your day going? Yeah, let's chat. If you have any questions, leave it down below, not down below, in the comments chat box. And yeah, Goku, I'm assuming that's not your name, but hi from India, amazing. I've never been to India before. I'd love to go one day. So, whereabouts in India are you from? Hey to everyone who has just joined. Let me know where you guys are from, and if you have any academic questions, anything to do with exams, studying, revision, things like that, then yeah, leave your question and I will get answering. I'm from Harar. Oh, amazing! Hi. Magic Polish. Okay, cool. Never heard of that before. But yeah, feel free to leave your questions and I'm going to get started on answering them. Last time we had like loads of questions about being able to focus, make notes, read academic papers, and oh, hi. And again, I'm sure that's not your name, but hi, Spontaneity Kaka from Ghana. Amazing. Hope you're having a lovely day. But yeah, ask me any questions that you have and I will get answering. I'm probably going to do about half an hour on the live from South Africa. Ooh, amazing. Lovely, lovely places you guys are from. I'm from boring London, so it's so dark and cold and very wintry. And as you can see, in another jumper today because I'm just trying to stay warm. But yeah, okay, we have a question. Hey, thank you, Brian. Hi, Dr. Mina. I'm currently a final year doing a law degree in Kenya. Cool. I'm 3 years after exam. How can I best revise? All right, amazing. Okay, so when you have 3 weeks left till exams, you are at the finish line, right? 3 weeks is not the time when you should be really learning anything new. Ideally, learning anything new, you should really be focused on sort of going over your old content, looking over notes. I don't know how law degrees, like what kind of exam questions law degrees consist of. I'm assuming it's like long essay questions, but can you do any practice questions? So I always recommend this. If you have any questions from like last year or the year before, like if you can access them, try to answer them because that will give you a good idea of like how you actually write in exams and maybe time it. If your exam is like an hour, give yourself 1 hour just to answer the question to see how you do in timed conditions, because that's a whole different story, right? Also, I would say 3 weeks to the end of the course to focus on like your case studies. Again, I'm assuming this is what law, because I haven't done law, so I'm not sure. But like look at your case studies, any facts, figures, numbers. Just like try to memorize them. Yeah, just as much as possible, trying to practice for the actual exam itself. So yeah, any memorization you can do, and try to mix and match it as much as you can. So if you can like do in the morning maybe some memorization and then in the afternoon like maybe looking at a case study and then in the evening doing some long questions just to change it up so you're not doing like one thing all day. So yeah, I hope that helps and good luck with you with that. Law is a very interesting subject. Like I feel like if I wasn't in the STEM and in the sciences, I definitely would have looked into law. Yeah, it's we're currently watching Suits, which is I don't know if it's a true representation of what law's like, but it definitely makes me feel like, oh, that's really interesting. Like I love how they can analyze and they're really analytical with data and numbers and things like that. And that's all what science is about, really. So I feel like I could have definitely done a law degree. But yeah, maybe in the next life. Thanks a lot. You're welcome. I've learned a great deal from your YouTube channel. Ah, amazing. Any other questions, guys? Feel free to drop your questions down below. Anything about exams, revising, studying, things like that. I would love to answer them. If you have any questions, even if it's like about productivity, how best to use your time, and revision tips. Thank you, Dina. I love your channel. It's amazing. Indonesia. Ooh, these are all countries I've never been to, guys. I can't. I really I need to travel more. I need to travel more. Yeah, what you guys up to? How's life? If you have any, also actually, if you have any video recommendations, do let me know what they are. Because I've got quite a lot of like things I have on my to-do list in terms of filming, and I'd love to know what you guys want so I can like try to do those. I want to know how to become more critical on studies. Probably the most popular question that I get, like how do you actually write critically? Like how can you actually be critical? Now I think I have a few videos about this, so do like just search Amina critical writing, whatever. But I think it's a matter of like going beyond the basics. So like when you have a research paper, not just thinking about thinking about, okay, I'm going to describe this paper. So right now, yeah, I'm wearing a brown jumper, brown headscarf. Cool. That's a description, right? And then you're going to analyze something. So when you analyze something, you're saying to yourself that you're kind of like taking the description and looking into it further to take out some information from it, right? So you're analyzing it, you're saying, okay, it's brown because it's. But when you're being critical, it's when you kind of offer an original idea or where you kind of like dig deeper and look beyond the lines. So you might say, oh, it's a brown jumper because it's X, Y, and Z. Like you kind of like looking between the lines and you're offering a suggestion. So it's a very much like higher level understanding. So there's this like triangle they show a lot where you've got, you know, the very basic, your descriptive, you know, anyone can describe, like I can ask my 2-year-old what color is this and they'll say it's brown. That's very, very basic. And then analytical and all these kind of stuff, like these are like the next levels. But then right at the top you have the critical, and that's where you're just being very much like thinking outside the box, very much thinking about it in a more original way. And so one thing I might do actually is I might do another video about critical writing, because I think there are certain questions that you can ask yourself to try to get that critical writing and critical thought out. So things like, what are the limitations of this study? How could they have done this study differently? Like those are ways that you can try to tease out critical like thinking. But it really is not just description and saying, oh, this is what's happened. You have to kind of go beyond that a little bit. Can you do a tutorial on Mendeley? Yeah, I think I have one. I'm pretty sure I have one. I have one. If you go to my channel and search Mendeley, I'm pretty sure I've gone through like all the steps of how to use it. So yeah, do search my channel. I'm almost certain I have one. How would you tackle a situation where you are very close to the closing date for your PhD applications and you might not get a response from a potential supervisor who you've identified? Okay, so if you don't get a response, I mean, there's two things you can do. One is if you have applied, you can email that supervisor and say, can you tell me why I didn't get in? Or like, can you give me some feedback? And hopefully, they don't have to, but hopefully they give you some feedback and say like, this is what you've done and this is how you could do it like better next time. 1 second. Oh, grab a tissue. Sorry. Yeah, so they might say, oh, like this is how you can improve next time. Maybe your application was like you didn't have enough experience, or maybe like your CV wasn't strong enough, or your references weren't good. So at least you know. But if you haven't got a response yet and you are about to apply, then maybe look into someone else. I mean, it's tough because firstly, every supervisor may not have like the money to bring you into their lab. So it may not be a matter of them not wanting you, but just that they actually can't have you in their lab, for financial reasons or space reasons or any other reason, maybe do a follow-up email and say, hi, just, I really want to know if you're able to take me on. The deadline's approaching soon. Love to hear back from you. But I would not put all my eggs in one basket. Look at other supervisors and ask them, can they help you? If there's going to be other labs that do similar things. So definitely reach out to other people as well. Hey, Amina, I am from South Africa. I want to know, what can one do whilst a dissertation is being examined? I'm losing my marbles here. I mean, apart from waiting, I don't know what else you can do. If you have an exam coming up, then obviously it's like focus on revising on that exam. But there's actually nothing else you can do. I would probably try to distract myself as much as possible and just do other things. But other than that, there's not really much else that you can do. You just have to wait and be hopeful. And yeah, there's nothing you can change. What is the fastest way to cram and memorize medicine, pharmacy? Cool. Okay. The fastest way to memorize, especially in the medical field where it's like pretty much like quite factual, is there's two ways. And this really depends on what like kind of learner you are. Everyone's quite different. One is like visual. So if you have like pen and paper and you're saying medicine pharmacy, you've got like different formulas, you've got different anatomy, different parts of the body, whatever, actually just drawing them out and like labeling them again and again and again and again, and I keep doing that. And that's one way that you can memorize. The second way of memorizing, that's for someone that's a visual learner. The second way to memorize is just by like looking at flashcards. So if you have let's say you have definitions of things or like meanings of things, you can ask, you can write down what those flashcards are, what they're on the flashcards, and then like look at them often and see how that, if that's one way of doing it. I think it depends on like what kind of learner you are. If you're a visual learner, then definitely like images and that kind of stuff works really well for me as well. But if you're someone who just likes to look at text, flashcards are a great way. Definitely don't do like highlighting. Don't do just looking at text on paper and thinking you're going to memorize it. You actually have to do something, and it's something called active recall, where you're constantly doing something actively to learn, and it's the opposite of passive. So passive would be me picking up a book right now, right, and just like looking at it and reading and saying, okay, I'm gonna memorize this. Active would be saying, okay, I've got that information, grab a pen and paper, let's write that down, let's scribble it over here, let's try this here, let's do an exam question. That's active. So make sure that whatever technique you're going to try, you're doing something actively that's actively allowing you to memorize and learn. I hope that helps. Colleen, okay, I'm not asking regarding a declined application. I want to know what you would do when you must submit a PhD application without supporting letter. Oh, okay. I'm assuming you're not in sciences, because in sciences you would always apply with a project already written. So if you're not in sciences, then I think it depends on the university. If I were you, I'd probably approach the university directly and say, I don't have a supporting letter. I don't have a potential supervisor. If that is an absolute requirement, then there's nothing you can do. You have to just find someone else. If that's not a requirement, then you can put your application across and see what happens. But if that's a requirement, then there's nothing, like you have to just find someone. And yeah, just email other people. Don't wait for that one supervisor to get back to you. How to find research articles for your chosen topic. Your videos are really helpful. Thank you so much. So how to find research articles for your chosen topic. So a few different ways that I absolutely love. One way is using PubMed. Now, PubMed is probably the best, I think the best, most concise database for research papers. You can go on there, find and then search, use like really specific search terms. So don't just write, if you're looking for something to do with cancer research, don't just write cancer research, because that's going to be very general. Mention the specific keywords for your topic. Then once you found a paper that you think, oh, this is really good, then look, like if you go down, you'll see suggested papers or like similar papers. And those are going to be papers that have similar keywords, topics, authors, like that kind of thing. And then you can pick out those kind of papers as well. There are loads of other websites that you can use that are helpful. This is a good one. If you search for connected papers, it's a really good website, and actually it tells you what other papers are connected to that one. There's other websites like Discovery, which is a really good, like, I think it's an app actually, and they do good. There's also Scholasy. That's also another really good one where you can like submit one paper that you think, let's say you just find one paper and you think it's really good, they will find other papers for you as well. And actually, they actually summarize papers too. So that's really good. And then, yeah, like I said, PubMed, Google Scholar is also amazing. Google Scholar. So it's Google's PubMed basically. So if you go to Google Scholar, the reason why I like Google Scholar is because it's like not so science focused. I find that PubMed, of course, is like medicine, healthcare, whatever. And whereas Google Scholar is anything. So sometimes, and it's very weird, sometimes I will search for keywords on PubMed and it gives me, certain papers. And then on Google Scholar, it'll give me like a new papers that I didn't find on PubMed. So I always use both, like search on PubMed first, find what you find, and then transfer to Google Scholar, and then you'll find some more. So yeah, these are some websites that there's so many other ones as well. Yeah, Google has a related paper option. Yeah, I think Google has it. Connected paper has it. PubMed has it. Like related. So look for related papers. What's suggested papers, similar papers. Like these are all also, oh yes, cited by. These are all like kind of subheadings that you'll find within these websites that will give you papers that are very similar. So you kind of don't have to do all the work. You can kind of cheat a little bit like that. Yeah. Can every research gap be a research proposal? Yep, 100%. As long as you are able to firstly justify why it's important. So remember that a research proposal has to say why it's significant. Why should that particular gap be filled, right? If I don't know some information and then I want to go and do research and find out what this information is, I have to be able to convince someone else that that information is important, right? So you need to be able to say why the gap needs to be filled, what impact filling that gap is going to have in the long term. Is it going to help medicine? Is it going to help like understanding, teaching? Like what is it going to do? And you need to really convince them that by you finding this information and filling this gap, that you are helping the rest of your space. So if that's in science, you're helping the scientific space. You're helping cancer research or neuroscience, whatever it is. So your question, can every research gap be a research proposal? Yes. But it has to be written in a way where you are convincing enough that you're saying like this gap is so important, like we need to know what it is. And that's how you write a research proposal. And I've got a very good video on research proposals and like listing exactly what you need to write in each section of your research proposal. So again, just search for my channel name and then write research proposal and you'll find a very, very good video. That's actually, people are watching it a lot more recently. So I'm assuming there's like a deadline coming up for research proposals, but check it out. And also, as I mentioned before, if you want me to take a look at your research proposal, your personal statement, your document, anything that you have, and you want it to be looked at by myself or another PhD researcher, then send it into the Page Doctor. So if you search for the Page Doctor, .com, it's my business that I started, like my own consultancy that I started. In the question that I started like 2 years ago now to help you guys, and yeah, send in your work and it can be checked by someone who's a PhD graduate or current PhD student. And yeah, we like take so much detail. Like our feedback is insane. Like I wish I could share my screen right now and show you. Like it completely transforms work. So definitely send work into us. We can check it within 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, or 24 hours, or 48 hours. So yeah. Colleen, oh, amazing. So many people love that video. I remember when I did it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's good. But then since then, like it's done really well, and I can see why it's really. I remember planning it took me quite a while, like breaking down each section. So yeah, how to make your teacher about helping you out actually. I'm assuming you're saying, how do you get your teacher to help you out? That's a huge question. And why aren't they helping you? I need some context. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, let me know, like, if there's a specific topic that you want me to help you on video wise. I've got quite a lot of content planned. I think I've got, what have I got coming up? Let me just double check. I have got, let's see what I have, because I always put all my, oh, that's the wrong place. Okay, it's not here. No, it's not here. Okay, I've got my video list on my drive, but I've got lots of videos coming up. And I've been developing a template, like loads of templates for essay writing. So different parts of essay writing, dissertation writing, things like that. So what I've been doing actually just today, this morning, is I've been developing, and I've actually just finished it, a full template, and it's like 4 pages long, I think, for essay writing. So right now, if you have an essay question, let's say there's a question about writing 3,000 words, write an essay about something. I've written and I've completely developed a full template. So how you write the title, then how you write the introduction. Within the introduction, I've written like 3 different sections. Then the main body, how you write the main body. And then I've given keywords and like key phrases for each of those sections. And then I've got the actual plan where it's blank, and then you can just fill that in yourself. So it is, yeah, it's I'm just looking at it now, it's like 4 pages long. And I'm going to be putting out like templates like that. So hopefully you guys will find that helpful, because I think like the Page Doctor, obviously we can help you quite a lot, but this is like an alternative for you to do it yourself, and it's just, just as good. How can I stop procrastinating in terms of studying? That's a big question. I think you need to really plan your study sessions, because I think the key issue with procrastination is that people, when you procrastinate, what you're doing is just distracting yourself, or you either haven't started, and so you're just like stalling, or you're stopping. So there's no real purpose there. So what you need to do is really plan your sessions very well. So I would probably recommend something like this. I've actually got it right here. Something like this, which is a time block. Can you see that? So you've got like time blocking. So like 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., all the way to 10 p.m. This is actually a planner that I designed myself. And yeah, it's a long story. I'm not going to go into it right now because this video is not about that. But I designed this planner like 3 years ago now, 2019. Yeah, 2019, and never ended up it never ended up out there because of issues with like delivery, etc. But I do have the PDF version available. So if you guys do want it, then you can get the PDF version. And you know what? Let me link it for you guys right now. If you want it, where is it? This is the one. I literally spent so long on it. I was so gutted when when I just couldn't. Let me copy the URL. I'll put the planner here. Okay. So if you guys want it, that is the planner. It's PDF. This is obviously one of the samples that I got when I was designing this planner, like literally 3 years ago, guys. I'm not even going to go into the story. Maybe I'll do a video about it one day. Anyway, so to stop procrastinating, I would time block. So as much as possible, plan your revision sessions. So Monday, you go to uni these days, or you do whatever these days. Then the free time that you have, don't just expect to appear and like you can get work done. Plan it. I'm going to be doing this module, and I'm going to be writing out my lecture notes, and give yourself 30 minutes or give yourself 1 hour. And use like the Pomodoro technique, where you stop and start after 25 minutes, or just put your phone, literally, I put it in a drawer. If it annoys me, like if I feel like it's distracting me, I'll put it away. I'll put it all the way down there at the back. Like just anything that you need to do to stop distractions, and then give yourself a set time, half an hour. After half an hour, I'm going to get up. Say that to yourself. After half an hour, I'm going to get up, and then get up and leave, and then come back, and then again, do that again. But without dedicated plan, and without having like all your resources, what will end up happening is you'll sit down, you want to start some work, But because you've got nothing planned and like there's so much, you're so overwhelmed with what to do in that moment, the last thing you're going to do is be productive. So plan is my best tip. Nuruddin said, is there any difference between the research proposal for the master's degree and for the PhD? There is a slight difference, but purely because the master's and PhD is obviously very different. Master is 1 year, and you're for a master's, you don't have to produce, like, to get awarded a master's, you don't have to produce anything original, if that makes sense. So to be able to actually get a PhD and graduate with a PhD and be awarded a PhD, you have to show that you've made an original contribution to the area of knowledge. So you have to show that you have found something new that no one else has found. If I gave my PhD thesis after 3 years to the examiners and they were like, that's already out there, I wouldn't have got my PhD. I would have got a master's. So 3 years for a master's. So the proposal for a PhD and for a master's needs to be very different. The PhD needs to be an idea that no one else has had, no one else has discovered, no one else is even close to looking at, things like that. Whereas for the master's, it could be something like similar. It still should be something new, of course, but it could be like more related to, rather than completely original. Secondly, of course, the PhD is 3-4 years, depends where you are, but at least 4 years, whereas the master's is only 1 year full time. So the amount of research you can do in 1 year versus 3 years is going to be completely different. But in terms of structure, it's quite similar. You need to do a background, your abstract, your aims, your hypothesis, your literature review, and then obviously your methods, your results, things like that. So in terms of structure, I would say it's pretty much the same, if not this very similar, but what you can actually do is going to be quite different. So yeah. I hope you can get the template out. Yes, so I'm actually going to get out in maybe a week's time, because I know essays are probably going to start coming out soon. Maybe a week's time. I'll definitely do a video about it, so look out on my channel. Hello from Iran. Hi, Mina. I was wondering how I can plan my time well for third year dissertation. Ooh, okay. So your third year, which means that you've got a lot on your plate. You've got your lectures, you've got your own exams, I'm sure you're applying for maybe jobs, thinking about like internships, whatever. And then you've also got your dissertation coming up. So what I would say is try to try to take away some of that like pressure now. So maybe try to look for your graduate schemes, jobs. Try to do that all like around the Christmas time, like before Christmas, before the new year. Try your best to get your lecture notes written and your notes written out as early as possible. So when the dissertation comes up, and it's due usually like in April, March times, or maybe like April, May, June times, you're not thinking about those things then. So try to give yourself as much time as possible to focus on those things. That's what I probably say. And then when you actually get the dissertation, you get the question, or you get your topic, then really try to give yourself time and that plan, right? So you've got 3 months. Month 1, I'm going to do all my research. I'm going to do all the reading. I'm going to whatever in month 1. Month 2, I'm going to do the methods. I'm going to actually carry out the research if you have research to carry out, whatever. Month 3, I'm going to do my writing. I'm going to do that side of things, analysis, whatever. So just really trying to give yourself a good schedule. And yes, you probably are not going to follow the schedule, but at least you have one. And at least you're not going to be relying on the last 2 weeks to do all of that. Is probably my best advice. Nadine, what is the best way to take notes when you're reading your unit module as a pharmacy student? How can we apply our knowledge? So best way to take notes when you're reading your unit module as a pharmacy student. Okay, so pharmacy is obviously in the sciences. I'm assuming you have a lot of like facts, a lot of like images, formulas, things like that. So best way to take notes is probably to have a very simple note-taking method. I would possibly even do it on pen and paper if you're okay with that. And just maybe write down only the key points. So if you have a drug name, what's the drug name? Where does it innovate? What does it do? What's this chemical job? Whatever. And then maybe like what's the concentration? I don't know, what do you learn in pharmacy? And what's the concentration, whatever. Like, have this like table where you're filling out all that information. And remember, whenever you make notes, like, this is something I think people don't think about. Whenever you make notes, even as a first year, whenever you make notes, ask yourself, come exams in June, am I going to be okay with these notes? Like, are these notes going to serve me? Because what happens is you can make like these little pretty notes, and you can write these, like, and then when it actually comes to revising, there's no information there. Like, the information isn't sufficient enough. So whenever you make notes, keep asking yourself, like, is this enough for me to study from in 6 months' time? If not, then you're kind of wasting your time, because you're gonna have to do all over again. So try your best to think about having as concise notes as possible. You don't even really need to, like, I don't remember having completely separate notes. I remember like taking the lecture notes for the most part, taking the lecture notes, which weren't that great to be honest, but then kind of annotating around the lecture notes and kind of having the lecture notes as my base notes. And I got rid of a lot of my lecture notes, but I kept a few of them as examples, just to like as memories. And they're at my parents' house, so maybe I'll get them and do a video about like what I did in my lecture notes. But I never really had a massive database of like my own notes. I would kind of just have the lecture notes themselves, the PowerPoints, and then I'll annotate around those. And then I might have like one or two spare sheets of paper with a bit more detail. And that was sort of like what I did, as opposed to doing a whole new note thing. But yeah, definitely ask yourself, like, is this going to be enough in July, in June? Amina. Hi, Amina. Another Amina. Is it Amina? Amina. Any advice for a commuter that travels 2 to 3 hours to get to uni and 2 to 3 hours back? Okay. Firstly, that's a lot of traveling, but I'm assuming that that's something that you've decided to do, so you can't get out of that. So use your time wisely. I remember actually when I was going to Imperial, I live in East London, and Imperial's obviously West London. So my journey would be like an hour and a bit on a good day. On a bad day, it could be like an hour and a half. So that's like 3 hours of like time on the train. Now you can either use this to waste time and just end up on social media for 6 hours a day, like you said, 2 to 3 hours, both ways. That's a lot of time to waste. Or you can use it productively. And actually, I think you can use it in a way that benefits you quite a lot. So one thing that I did was I got an iPad. You don't need an iPad, but I got an iPad, so it wasn't my phone, and there's no like network on it. So I got an iPad, and I would like open up my papers that I was reading, my research papers, because this was during my master's. So I downloaded all my papers offline. I'd read them, highlight them, annotate them, take notes. And then when it came to actually writing, I didn't have to do any of that, because all of it I did on the train. Right. So that's one thing. The second thing is to actually like pursue a hobby. And I know people usually say, oh yeah, work, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't need to do that. Pursue a hobby. Maybe on your way in, because it's 2 to 3 hours, on your way in, do something that's just interesting to you, like a hobby. And then on your way back, you can do some reading or something. So one thing that I did was I was learning Arabic at the time, and I just looked at my Arabic notes, and I was like listening to podcasts in Arabic, and I was like reading vocabulary and things like that. And I learned so much on my travels. So definitely use it to your advantage, but don't. There are days, of course, like there might be a day that you're just like, I can't be bothered. Go on your phone, scroll. That's fine. But you should always, especially for that length of a journey, I think if it's like half an hour, no big deal. But for 2 to 3 hours a day, each way, that's a lot of time to waste. Because that means that when you get back home, like you're so drained, there's no time to do anything else. So you need to treat it like it is your time to work. So yeah, I'm struggling to write a research proposal. Like I've done lots of reading and even research into it. Okay, so what exactly, that's a good point. What exactly do you want to work on? Okay, that's a huge question. Firstly, what's the topic? I'm assuming you know what topic, like what's the general topic? So give yourself a general topic. Then try to give yourself a more specific topic. So within that, let's just say cancer research, right? You're interested in cancer research. Okay, that's huge. Then go down. Which cancer? Like what kind of cancer are you interested in? Okay, we're interested in maybe, let's say, ovarian cancer. Okay, cool. So we're there. Now, what methods are you interested in? Like, are you interested in on like the mathematical side of things? Are you interested in the cell biology side of things? Are you interested in like the microscopy? Like, what interests you about that particular topic? Once you identified that particular topic, you can then look into like papers about that topic and then see, okay, so that's interesting, but what about, have they not tried this, or like, do you think they could have tried that? And then even approach lecturers and professors, like search on UCL's website and search for like ovarian cancer like professors, and say, do you mind if I have a quick conversation with you? I was looking at papers about this, I didn't notice this, but do you think? And just like ask, go to search for cancer research conferences. There'll be so many conferences that you can attend, and they will say in those conferences what the gap in literature is. So you can pull it out like that. You can find a PhD student who's currently working on that topic. How can you find them? You can either look on websites like university websites. They link their PhD students there. Like I think they usually have a list of them. Approach them and say, hey, like I'm interested in PhD. This is what I'm interested in, but I don't know exactly what I want to do. And they would usually sit down with you and have a conversation. But you have to have like some sort of like starting point, and you have to show that you've done some sort of reading. You can't just approach someone and say, tell me what the gap of literature is. You need to say, like, you need to find the gap-ish, around a gap, and then try to identify the exact gap through speaking to people. Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. What is the daily monthly plan? What is the difference in writing style and research between undergrad and masters? Oh, okay. So undergrad is a lot less. I'm assuming you mean like a research master's or like more research. An undergrad is a lot less research heavy, in the sense that it's very much like descriptive, analytical, and somewhat critical, but of texts, right? So just texts that are out there. A master's usually involves some of your own personal research. So it usually involves some research that you might have done, or some like hypothesis that you might have come up with. So it has a bit more mature, original thoughts. But in terms of the actual writing style, it's quite similar. I'd expect a master's to write a bit better, but otherwise, like if you're a good writer, you can write good as an undergrad as well. But in terms of the writing style, should we say, the research side, I think, is where it probably differs. So as an undergrad, I think in my undergrad I did like 6 weeks of research, so there's not really much research experience that you have, whereas as a master's you probably have a lot more. So that's why. I'm really struggling with finalizing a topic for my dissertation. Any recommendations? I think what I just mentioned earlier about trying to get that specific topic will be the same thing. So take your overall topic, think about what it could be. Think about also, I think people forget about this. What are you passionate about? Like, what are you, if you're, let's say you're a midwife, what are you interested in? Are you interested in understanding why something happens during birth with one group of people and not the other? Are you interested in, like, what exactly are you interested in? Yeah. So yeah, I hope that helps. Greetings from Algeria. Oh no, actually, I won't answer that one. Best to write in the lecture and write in a textbook. Exactly. Separate notes, they're very time consuming, definitely not necessary. I want to first thank you for thank you so much. Your place of origin, I'm Ethiopia, but born in the UK. What is the scope of genomics? What do you mean? What is the scope of genomics? We are here to ask questions about practical subject, not a personal life, my dear. Not sure what you mean. Would you save the video, please? Yes, I am. So all my lives always like go on YouTube and they're saved. So if you go to my channel and you go to videos, there's like a drop down that says live. So if you go to my lives, I did one 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And I think I'm gonna try to do them either once every 2 weeks or once a week. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, I think about half an hour now, so I'm going to stop there so I can go and have some lunch. It's getting really dark in London. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. What is going on? Got the lights on and everything. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed that. It was a quick little live. As I said earlier, please find me at on my Instagram. So all my Instagram is my name. I'll put it over here. On Instagram, I'm there. I post quite a lot about more of my personal life. And then on TikTok, on TikTok, I'm there. I need lunch. On TikTok, I'm there. And yes, you can also find me on the Page Doctor if you guys want like actual academic support, like tailored academic support. You can send your work to us, and we will be able to like look at your writing, give you feedback. Our feedback is so intense. We go through like whether you've had a good introduction, your critical writing is strong, like how you can improve it and everything. So send in your work to us. And what else? Where else can you find me? Page Doctor. And yeah, that's it. And if you want the planner, I left a link above. So if you want this planner with all the timings and stuff, you can get that there as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.